Hi, hi, John. Sorry to bother you, my friend. My name's Kelly Johnson. I'm a real estate broker here in Indy, and I was calling about the property I see for sale by owner on 123 Pear Street.
Yes. How can I help?
Yeah, I see you're braving it, going for sale by owner, and I can appreciate what you're trying to accomplish there. Curious, anything my team and I can do to help you get this property sold?
Yeah, do you have a buyer?
We do actually work with quite a few buyers, John, and I'd love to expose your home. Obviously, don't know much about it at this time. Curious, once you get the property sold, where are you heading to? What's the purpose of all this?
Sorry, why is that important?
Well, obviously, understanding and appreciating what your motivation is to sell at this point will give me the best direction on being able to help you and your family with getting this property sold, if given the opportunity. I'm just curious, just what your plans are once you get this property sold.
No, we got that taken care of.
Hope you're breaking up on me, John.
Yeah, no, we
Hey, good
got that
morning.
taken care of. Thank you.
Oh, gotcha. So you're already taken care of at this point, just planning on
Yeah,
approaching the first sell by owner.
not that heat up.
Is there any particular time frame that
That's
you're
right,
looking?
yeah. Um, I mean, if you give me 700,000, I mean, I could certainly make the move work.
Sure, sure. And that's the so 700,000 is the number that you're seeking after at this point. Um, I'm curious, how long have you been for sell by owner at this point, John?
Yeah, no, we've been about a couple weeks. Why do you ask?
Okay, well, I'm curious just how your activity and has been on the property currently.
Yeah, no, it's been good.
Been good. Perfect. Okay. Where would you go with this particular conversation, John?
I'm being standoffish, and I think you got affected by that mindset wise. Would you say, Aaron? Is but is that not normal with a for sale by owner though?
No,
Yeah,
100%.
like
I
for
would say
sure.
that in my
Yeah.
experience, probably 70% of the first sale by owner activity that I take on is typically done after multiple attempts, follow up, things of that
Yeah.
nature.
Yeah. And I think like what you're doing well, Kelly, because you're a trained professional, is you're not getting like emotional about his responses. I think that's a good way.
Sure.
When being like aggressive with me like that, like I always want to like take the approach of, when he was like, well, why is that important? It's like, well, my intention in asking just to be clear. It's not to be nosy, how I can help and be of assistance in some way. It's not uncommon that if and when for sale by owners are successful in selling their home, we help them purchase their next one. So, is your intention to stay here locally? You're looking to go someplace else. So what he's doing is like he's constantly trying to take away status with those short, like abrupt, kind of quick answers. And by me kind of doing what I just did, I take the status back. Right. He's trying to make me small by saying those things. And yeah, like I just stay in curiosity. I think you're doing a really good job of, again, not getting like emotionally charged with his responses and just continue to ask questions to try to find out what the deal is. I also will infuse a little bit of humor, you know,
Mhm.
like, yeah, if you give me 700 and I heard you laugh, I'd be like, yeah, man, while we're at it, we might as well get you 1 million. And he, and it kind of breaks the tension a little bit. And then we can start to have like a conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Absolutely.
That's the only thing I would do different. But the things that you're doing really well are not emotional, like not attached. Because a lot of people, when people are aggressive like that, they start to shut down emotionally or they get defensive. So you did that really. The only thing I would do different is, again, just kind of pulling status back and then maybe use something like humor mention where he starts.
And that's what I always try to do in any of the conversations. I don't care if it's expired for sale by owner. I think adding, because we especially in the beginning, we can be kind of robotic
Yeah.
with our approach, and people sense that type of behavior even over the phone through your voice. I mean, I just spoke to a guy, past client of mine. He just woke up out of bed. I'm like, Dave, did you just wake up? You could tell, and that's the
Yeah.
same thing when it comes to especially, and I won't even say especially with first sale by owner, it's anybody that you're dealing with. If you can demonstrate through the phone, through your voice, that to ease the situation, I feel like you can get further down the conversation.
100%. And like, just like awareness, right? Of the fact that like you're a human talking to another human, you know?
Yeah.
And like what just popped into my head when you woke your buddy up, you're like, hey, sounds like I'm the first voice you heard today, partner.
That's
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just little things that you can do to like break that in, causes someone to be like, oh, this is like another human on the line. And you can just start to have a. So that's spot on. Like KJ doesn't do like 100 deals a year by accident. So like you know, you're a trained professional. And what this is about is just small little refinements. That's all.
Yeah.
Let's roll it back again, Kelly, because I want to have a positive outcome and a closing.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. I was looking for John, please.
Yes, this is.
Hey, John. Sorry to bother you, my friend. Haven't had the pleasure of meeting you before. My name's Kelly Johnson. I'm a real estate broker here in Indy, and I was calling about your property on 123 Pear Street.
Yes, how can I help?
Yeah, I see that you're going for sale by owner, and I can completely appreciate what you're trying to accomplish there. I'm curious, is there anything that my team and I could do to help you and your family maybe net more at the end above and beyond what you're trying to save?
I don't know what you mean, but do you have a buyer?
Well, I'm glad you asked. We obviously, doing the amount of work that we do here in the marketplace, we work with a lot of buyers. Not particularly at this moment do I know if anybody qualifies for your particular home. It is a beautiful one. I'm curious, once you get the property sold, John, where are you going? What's the purpose of all this?
I'm sorry, why is that important?
Well, the big thing at this point is just obviously understanding your motivation, what your intentions are. It's not to be nosy or intrusive or anything like that, but it's more just to understand your situation, your family situation better, and how my team and I can be a professional resource to you.
Yeah, sure. No, we're good there. But do you have the buyer?
Well, currently, like I said, work with a plethora of buyers here in the marketplace. Again, not sure if we have any one particular that would be interested in your property. I'm curious, when would be a good time for me to stop by and take a quick look?
Yeah, no, I mean, you can come by anytime, really. I work from home, but yeah, we're doing a sort of a little bit of an open house on the weekend if you want to pop by there and bring your buyers, whatnot.
Terrific. Good for you. That's is the open house on Saturday or is it on Sunday, John?
Saturday and Sunday from 1 to 5.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. I
Yeah.
will
Yeah,
note
yeah.
that. Is there anything specifically between now and then, John, that I can do to serve you and your family?
No, I mean, again, if you have the right buyer, certainly willing to work with you.
No, 100%. And I'm assuming at this point you're offering a buyer's agency commission?
Oh yeah, we're willing to happy to pay 1%.
Oh, 1%. Good for you. Okay.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that. One question that I always have for folks like yourself, John, is if you knew for a fact 100% partnering yourself with a real estate professional here in the marketplace could net you net bottom line better results than what you're currently getting on your own, would that strike anything in you to have a conversation and see what that would look like for you and your family?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, obviously at this point, at this juncture in our conversation, I'm nothing more than just a educational resource for you and your family. At this point, I would be very interested in knowing that if you could have full maximum exposure on your property, would that yield you a better result than what you're doing on your own with a limited amount of exposure?
Like do you mean you want the listing?
No, I would love to earn your business, John, but at this juncture, I'm not tied to the result of this conversation. What I'm most interested in is just seeing if there is an opportunity to come and meet with you for 30 minutes, give you my professional approach, plan of action, maybe share a net sheet with you and see if you and your family can net better bottom line than what you're doing on your own. Would you be open to that?
Yeah, I mean, if I don't sell it in like 6 months or something like that, but again, I'll if you're coming by the open house, we can chat then, of course, right? But again, if you have the right buyer willing to pay you 1%.
Absolutely. John, I
Yeah.
appreciate the opportunity. I won't badger you any further at this point. Again, don't want to put a bad taste in your mouth. I will see you Sunday at the open house.
Yeah, sounds good, brother. Thank you.
That's a realistic
Very typical and realistic, right?
for
Yeah.
sale.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
a good job. And the only thing that I heard, KJ, is the same thing about status. So when he was like, "Do you want the listing?" So what I would look at John, right? So if John came at me with that, he's like, "Yeah, so you want the listing, right?" It's like, to be honest with you, John, I'm not entirely clear that is what I'm interested in. I'd be able to determine that together as a team by having a further conversation with you in terms of your goals and objectives and potentially see a home. So do you see when I do that, I immediately take status back. So what he's doing is like he's constantly trying to diminish my status. And at every turn when I hear it, when it's like aggressive, I'll take it back. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's the only thing that I'm hearing. You know what I mean? And even for a country boy, you hear him say plethora, let's fucking go, bro.
Are you saying that there's a correction that I need to make there, or?
Yeah, so whenever you hear, because I'm noticing like you're weighing heavily towards like, you said things like, I don't want to badger you, I don't want to put a bad taste in your mouth. It's like, it's kind of like in a way like you're apologizing and there's no reason to.
Okay.
And then what I'm also aware of is when he tries to take status away by saying things like, well, so you just want the listing, right? Saying something like, what, I appreciate that. And to be candid with you, I'm not entirely sure that is what I'm interested in. We'd be able to determine that together as a team by me finding out specifically what you're looking to accomplish and why, and then obviously taking a look at the property to see if I can add value. And if it's a match, and if it is, great, we could potentially proceed. But if not, that's okay too. So notice, I'm letting you know, I'm like, nope, I'm not attached to this outcome at all. And I immediately take the status back.
Yeah.
So with somebody like this, and particularly, let's say for sale by owners, but specifically with this type of personality, he's constantly trying to diminish your status all along the way. So what I'm doing is when I hear that, I take it back. I don't let him, He's like, hey, 30 minutes. It's like, wow. Well, truthfully, I really only have 15 because I now have another appointment after this. So I'll be brief. You see, like he tries to take the status away, I take it back. Well, I can meet with you like tomorrow. It's like, well, wow, let me take a look at my schedule. And I'm actually booked tomorrow. I have an opening on Thursday. I can do it 3 or would 5 be better? Look at what I just did. Because he's like, yeah, you're like, Dylan, you have like time to do whatever the fuck I want you to do. It's like, nah, dude, that's not exactly what's true. Right? So it's just the status piece that I would be conscious of. That's all.
No,
In that conversation, I gave you the opening to come over. I mean, I was standoffish, and yet you're gonna see me. So I think the conversation with that type of guy will be completely different in person.
Absolutely.
I think, yeah, and I do think that you'll get more motivation and get deeper into the conversation as you get there. If we were to stay on the phone a little bit longer, Aaron, Jose, what would you do to circle back on the motivation time frame and all that good stuff
so I think by letting go of the listing piece, it frees them up to talk. So I would say, yeah, what I'm aware of is we help a lot of for sale by owners if and when they do sell the property to actually help them purchase their next ones or relocate to another area by connecting them with appropriate parties that could be helpful or useful with their next living situation. So just so I'm clear, is your intention to stay here locally? Or are you looking to go out of the area? So by letting go of the listing piece and like adding value in that way, it increases the probability that they're going to start to talk to you about what it is that they're trying to accomplish and why.
It's non-threatening when you let go of the listing because I kept saying, oh, you just want the listing. You just want the listing. If you let that go and then ask in another way, I love I hear this from you guys all the time. Are you staying here locally or going out of town? And that's kind of like either or, and they're more likely to give you the motivation.
That's a really good awareness, because what I'm aware of is I say, like, what are your plans? It's super open. Versus, are you planning to stay here looking to go out of the area? It's only 2 options. And now your brain It's like I'm taking control of your brain, and it has the ability to be able to answer any question I give it. If I give it two options, it's kind of like if you go to Subway and you're like, hey, what kind of mustard do you want? And you're like, well, what do you have? And they tell you like 15 mustards, your brain shuts down. You're like, fuck it, I don't even want mustard. Like, give me the yellow one. I don't know. Right? So by me asking a question where there's only two options, notice like, so if we were to get together under normal conditions, would you be available in the evenings or the afternoons? Not like, when can we meet? That's too open. Like your brain's like, it's too vague. It's too general. Right? Versus like evenings or afternoons, I'm giving two options. And then they'll say like, well, yeah, I guess if we were to meet, evenings are usually better. Okay. And evenings for you, is that usually at like 5 or is it a little bit later at 6:30 better? Notice two more options. And like, yeah, 6:30 works. Okay, great. So what I'll do is I'll grab a pencil with a big eraser. I'll pencil it in for 6:30. I'll have my assistant. Her name is Carla. She'll call you just to confirm, make sure that that time still works for you. If we need to change it or move it around, we can always do that. Does that sound okay? So those two options increases the probability that they'll choose one and begin to talk to you in this context, right? Are you going to stay here locally? You're looking to go outside of the area.
This is amazing. Guys, if you don't know Kelly Johnson, he's selling over 100 homes a year as a solo agent, and he's open to learn and open to improving and open to criticism, really. So kudos to you, Mr. Kelly.
The other thing I would say, guys, is how often do we get asked, like, meaning like whenever you ask somebody, like, where are you moving to next? How often do we get asked, why does that matter?
Not 100% of the time.
Like a good portion of it, like it happens, like it's not like never, and it's not like all the time, but it's somewhere where you can expect it somewhere around maybe 30% of the time where you're going to get asked that. So if we know we're going to get asked that, like, let's come up with a response that we feel comfortable with and that helps us do this. Particularly, this response comes up more with for sale by owners than other lead sources. So meaning like you ask a for sale by owner, where are you moving to next? They're going to be like, why does that matter? Like, why do you care? Just bring me a buyer, basically. The way I typically handle that is I'll say something, you know what? That's a really good question. The reason I'm asking is I have access to off the market properties, meaning if your goal was to stay here locally, I may be able to provide you with an off market property that is a good opportunity. So is the plan to stay here locally or to move out of the area? And then at that point, it goes back into, is it locally or move out of the area? And then that's a pattern. Like that's a pattern that if they say locally, then you can say, great, is the plan to move into something bigger, smaller, just like a different neighborhood? If they say out of the area, then you can take it into a different pattern, basically. That's one of them.
And what I'm also aware of is you want like bridges, right? I'm aware when me and Jose were first kind of working together and teaching him how to sell in high volume, he recognized like, yeah, I need bridges to get from one place to the next, or softeners. The reason why you get a lot of pushback is like, where are you moving to next? It's very abrasive and like abrupt. And what you'll hear people say are things like, when they start to push back, it's because you're asking in like a staccato manner and it's like aggressive. So you need a softener. So I would say to Jose, like, if you don't mind me asking, softens. Or my intention in asking you my next question, Jose, is not to be nosy, just to see if I could give you any more information that could be helpful or useful in some way. So if you don't mind me asking, is your please looking to go someplace else? Do you see what I just did? I softened that so much
up the question
that it increases the probability that he's going to actually respond to it.
Or like, even like another softener is like, hey, Aaron, if this is not too personal, would you mind me asking, like, once you sell this home, like, where is it that you're moving to next? Like, I've almost like softened it up to the point where it's like, oh, it's a much softer question, basically. So I think what Aaron is saying is spot on about like using certain things before you actually ask the question to soften it up. If you don't mind me asking, if this is not too Aaron, if this is not too personal, or this may be too personal for you and you may not want to answer it, but I was wondering, like, if you do sell this property, like, where is it that you're planning on moving to next? And now you've almost like handled the objection before you even got it.
Before you even hit it. Exactly right. And when you say like, my intention in asking is not to be nosy. So I used to imagine that people knew what my intention was. But here's what's interesting. The majority of people, including everybody on this call, you think that people's intentions are bad. And so do your clients. So like, even though I knew I was coming from a place of like contribution, wanting to help, they think by me asking a question, there's something like nefarious about it. You know what I'm saying? So instead, I just state my intention clearly. So, my intention in asking my next question is not to be nosy. It's simply just to find out if I can provide you with any more information that could be helpful or useful. So I'm stating my intention, and I'm letting you know it's actually in your best interest to answer it.
And then that's like it's almost like an intention and almost like a softener or a preface as well too. Like I had this agent in my office who's like I told her that it's good to like when you're working with buyers to find out like what type of properties they own, because that'll tell them like, hey, look what properties they're likely to buy. And she would just ask them like, where do you live now? And I'm like, it's kind of like like you're not softening up the question at all. You're just like, imagine me asking you like, where do you live now? You'd be like, why do you want to know where I live? Like, why do you want to know? Like, that's kind of personal, like that's kind of weird that you want to know where I live, Just like, but if
and it's the reason why you're getting the pushback is because you're asking it like abrupt and abrasively, right? It's kind of like if I walked up to, I don't know, John, and I'm like, hey, John, why did you choose that haircut? Like immediately he's gonna be like, what the fuck you mean, bro? It makes me look cute. It accentuates my face. Like I love this haircut, dude. Like
I get that all the time, by the way. But
hey, what are you gonna do? You can't help it. You know what I mean? I was born this way. I woke up this way. So the idea is like, again, using common sense. If you're getting pushback, it's because the questions you're asking are abrupt.
And there's not softening up. Yes, soften it up a little bit.
That's right. And that's
with a preface, basically, like some sort of like, hey, if this is not too personal, blah blah blah. The other one that I wrote down was, do you want the listing? Because we get that it's like you just want a listing, or do you want a listing? The way I say it is kind of like taking back status as well too. So I'll say something like, I don't want a listing. I want to actually sell it. You got to keep in mind that a listing does me no good. Like only a sale is in both of our interests. So I don't care how it happens. I don't care if it happens by way of a listing. I don't care if it happens by way of bringing you a buyer. The most important thing is just selling this property, right? Yes. Yeah. Okay, great. And then I transition into something else.
And he just took back status. And what he just made me think of is there's something else I would say, which is like, I appreciate you asking. And truthfully, I'm not in the business of collecting listings. I'm in the business of selling them. So immediately, like you pull back status and it's like, well, so I'm not completely clear that that's what I would be interested in. We'd be able to determine that together as a team by me finding out what your goals and objectives are and see if it's a match. And if it is, great. And if not, that's okay too. So I'm wondering, and then you ask the next question, but by doing that, either the way Jose did it or what I just did is immediately you're pulling back status. Immediately.
Yeah. And even then in that situation, you guys got to think about it. Okay. Do we want a listing or do we want an escrow? I don't know about you guys, but I want an escrow. Mm-hmm. I don't care how I get the escrow. I want the escrow. A listing does us no good in the business. So I'll say that like, hey, I don't want a listing. I want to get it sold. You got to remember, like a listing does me no good. Nothing matters unless I sell it. So whether it means bringing you a buyer or helping you market the property, I'm open to whatever structure needs to happen to get the property sold, which I'm guessing that's what you want, right? You want to sell it. You don't want to give a listing, Yeah,
and again, like I want to be really clear too about like one is the mindset that Jose is telling you. I remember I had a coach one time and he's like, yo, are you a collector? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, do you have a museum that I don't know about? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, do you like dust off? Like, what do you mean? He's like, what's the purpose of taking a listing? And I was like, to sell it. He's like, exactly. Not to go in front of your company and be like, I took a listing. Yay. Like, that's dumb. So one is the mindset that goes behind it. But two, this issue of status is because what happens is you guys feel like you're bothering them. And what I'm also aware of is you approach this in an apologetic way. And that has to do with like the way that you see yourself, which ultimately ends up deals with the approach. So the way that I see myself is as a trained professional, because you can only behave in yourself. So truthfully, underneath, if you see yourself as somebody who's bothering people, that's the only way you can behave. And it's going to come out in your tonality. It's going to come out in your choice of words. It'll come out in your language patterns. You see what I'm saying? where my identity, the way that I see myself is like, and again, I'm going to say something to you, and I don't mean this to be egotistical. It's just what's accurate for me. And it's just a belief that I've developed loyalty to over time. That's all that is that like, I'm a white knight, meaning like, I actually know what I'm doing. Out of all the rum-dums out there who don't know, like, how to sell real estate in high volume and don't give good service and don't know how to position property price-wise, like I can actually help them. Right? So it's my duty and obligation to have these conversations with people. And I have a service that is top notch. And because of that, I don't interact with people in a way like I need to prove myself worthy of your business. I know I'm worthy of your business. And that shows up in my tonality. It shows up in my choice of words. It shows up in my willingness to take back status regularly. Because you guys don't want to take back status because you're afraid when you do that, they're going to get mad at you.
Yeah, I didn't like the sorry to bother you right in the beginning. And then also I don't want to badger you.
Yeah.
That's like very apologetic from the beginning and at the end. So I think that's something to do with like how you see yourself.
100%. And what I see, John, and I know you know because you've been doing this a long time, you've been on these forever, is I see people like apologize for things that have nothing to do with them. Like, why are you saying sorry about that? Like,
right.
They're like, oh, I'm getting all these calls. Well, I'm sorry about that. Like, what the fuck? Okay, you're getting all these calls. Guess what? That's what comes with selling a home for sale by owner. Like, ta-da! Like I'm mad about how I'm not getting as much as I want. And you're like, well, I'm sorry to hear that. Why? If you want to get mad at somebody, open up your door, yell at all your neighbors. Because they're the ones who fucking agreed to sell homes at like lower prices. Like, why am I apologizing? Do you see what I'm saying? And that has to do with the way that you see yourself. And I'm telling you, this happens in conversations because people will ultimately do what you allow them to do. If you allow them to push you around, they will. If you allow them to speak to you in a certain way, they will. So if you have a seller that's like, oh man, like, and they're being aggressive, it's like, listen, I understand where you're coming from. And I hear you that you're frustrated. And I'm also aware, I know my tendency is when I'm frustrated, I look for something or someone to blame. It seems as though you're directing that in my attention. And what I'm aware of is we've had showings and 2 offers. And, candidly, we're doing what you hired us to do. So I believe that you're directing that in the wrong place. And then be quiet. And you're like, holy shit, you would say that to somebody? Yeah. 100%. Because it's what's true. You see what I'm saying? And it's because of how I see myself. Versus like, yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that. I'm sorry. I'm disappointed too. And like, we're really going to try harder. Like, what the fuck is that, bro?
Kelly, thank you for taking the feedback for like half an hour straight. So
I'm sorry. Okay. Fucking sorry.
I fucking love that guy, bro. He's the best. Let's go.
God, Jesus. Fuck. I wrote a note down. Aaron says, don't fucking be sorry. Nope. No more. Sorry.
No more, dude.
Last time.
Unless there's something like what I would tell clients is like, listen, if we drop the ball, I'm the first to own it. I will call you immediately and let you know up front that it's on us and I'll make it right. At the same time, what's also true is, in this particular instance, I don't believe that that's accurate. We've had on the market, we've shown it 25 times, we've produced 2 offers. Now, the fact that those offers weren't acceptable to you, I mean, that's not something that we can dictate. Ultimately, the market dictates value and what somebody's willing to pay. So I understand your frustration. At the same time, we're not the enemy here. We're actually helping you accomplish your goals and objectives. And if we're going to continue, you need to know and trust that any advice that I give you is in alignment with your goal. And I take the responsibility you provided me with very seriously, which is to protect the value and give you information, even if it's not palatable or like exciting. Because that's what you would expect from your professional, isn't it? And they're like, well, yeah. It's like, okay.
No
Got
more.
it.
No more.
Hey, okay, got it? Good. Hell yeah, look at Dylan with that shirt looking like a G, bro. Let's go. Lee Billy, Texas.
Does anybody want to flip? I'll be the seller. And somebody else want to take a poke at it, see what's going on?
Do it. What are we doing for sub owner?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take a stab at it.
Who am I speaking to?
This is Dylan Hernandez.
Dylan?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Let's go, Dylan.
All right. Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hey, Kelly.
Yeah, this is he.
Hey, Kelly. This is Dylan Hernandez. I was actually calling about the property over on 123 Main Street. You're selling that one for sale by owners. Is that right?
I am, Dylan. Do you have a buyer for me?
I'm sure it sounds like you're getting a lot of calls this morning. Is that right?
We've been inundated this week for sure. Went on the market on Monday.
Yeah. No, I can. Definitely believe it. I was actually calling just because I am a local real estate agent in the area, and I was really just calling to see like what I can do to help.
Currently at this point, we are offering a 2% commission to any buyers that you can bring to us. But at this point, we're just trying to sell it on our own and save that commission.
Yeah, no, totally respect it. Okay, so 2%, and what's a good email that you're accepting buyer offers at?
It's on the Zillow website, kelly@kellys.com.
Perfect, awesome, got that. And then I guess I'm curious, like if you were to get a full price offer, how open would you be to accepting that offer?
I think that's the goal at this point, isn't it, Dylan? Get a
Yeah, no, and the reason why I'm asking is because I mean you'd be surprised how many sellers are just putting it out there just to see what they can get. And I just want to make sure that if I were to bring you a buyer, that at the end of the day that wouldn't be effort, time wasted on anyone's part. And so on that note, in the case that I were able to bring you a buyer, like, are you going to need to sell a lease back? Are you going to need anything like that?
No, we're just looking to cash out, not looking to be a landlord. And we've already found our next house. It's just a matter of getting this one sold now.
Oh, perfect. Awesome. Where are we heading to?
We're staying here locally. We just we needed having a baby, needed an additional bedroom, and been in this house for 13 years and just ready for a change at this point. But we've got a property that we're interested in. We just need somebody like yourself, Dylan, to bring us a buyer.
Wow, awesome. Okay, man. I mean, it sounds like you got everything kind of figured out. I mean, are you in real estate yourself?
Nope. I'm a temporary real estate guy right now. I'm just trying to sell my own home.
I love it. I love it. Well, hey, if you ever decide to get your license, I'd definitely like to introduce you to my team. At least that sounds like it'd be great. Well, look, I don't want to waste your time or anything. I know you're probably a busy guy. Ultimately, it sounds like you definitely want to get the property sold, which is apparent. And I guess I'm curious. I mean, in the case that you don't get an offer that you're willing to accept here in the next couple of days, would you be open to maybe sitting down and seeing if it made sense to potentially work together and team up to get it sold?
I may look at that, but we're gonna, maybe give me a call back in 30 days, see what the action looks like at that point.
Gotcha. No, definitely understand. And then, so I'm actually going to be in that area tomorrow, and what I'd like to do, just to really make sure that it is a good fit for one of my buyers, I'd like to just pop by and maybe take a look and see, the condition of the property, just make sure it's a good fit. And then, what I can also do in the meantime, and I really don't mind, is I'll email you just kind of, my seller's guide, just so that we can kind of put a face with name and kind of have an idea of what my team and I would potentially be able to do should you not get an offer you're willing to accept. And then, like I said, you can pop by, take a look at the property, and if you want to discuss it, then great. And if not, we can kind of reevaluate at a later date. Is that fair enough?
What I'm advising everybody as of right now, Dylan, is I'm going to have an open house on Sunday. If you want to stop by, speak at that point. Obviously, the home is vacated at this particular juncture, and me being available for every agent that has called me to bring the property just isn't something I'm interested in right now. But 2:00 on Sunday, if you want to stop by and introduce yourself and take a look, that'd be great. Okay,
you said 2:00 on Sunday?
Yep.
Okay, let me take a look at my calendar real quick. You know what? I think I can squeeze that in. I'll see if I can stop by and see if I can make it by there and take a quick look. And then like I said, in the meantime, I'll send you some information. I'll send you a follow-up text. It's a good number to text. Is that right?
That is.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'll send you a follow-up text with the digital business card. You can see our Google reviews and everything else. Again, put a face with the name, and I'll send you that seller's guide. And then I'll make my way out there on Sunday. And then again, we can have a conversation, and if it makes sense, then great. And if not, I'll continue to stay in contact and see where it goes from there. Is that fair?
That's fair. Thanks, Dylan.
Awesome. Well, I'll see you on Sunday at around 2. All right, Kelly?
Betcha. How'd you feel
Thanks so
about
much. Bye.
How'd you feel, Dylan? How'd you feel about that?
Well, I mean, I didn't get a for sure listing appointment, but I got an opportunity. I felt like I got the opportunity to share information about my team and I, and also an opportunity to get face to face with the seller, which would potentially offer the opportunity to, build more rapport and hopefully build trust.
Yeah. Yeah. So things I think you did really well, conversational, right? Just having a conversation. Break intention with, a little bit of humor at the beginning, taking back status, right? I noticed you did that where he was like, yeah, you come by tomorrow. You're like, oh man, I'm looking here. Like I'm kind of booked. Maybe I can move some stuff around and make that happen. So what I'll do is I'll tentatively pencil that in. I think I can move some stuff around. And I'll have, I'll call you to confirm, or my assistant will, just to make sure that time still works for you. Does that sound okay? Getting your information in front of them. You mentioned Google reviews, stuff like that. All that's great. So small little tweaks on how you can improve, right? So when he said to you, yeah, you can be called back in 30 days, you can be like, yeah, man, I mean, I can certainly do that. We'll definitely be selling real estate in 30 days. I'm wondering, would you prefer to be under contract and moving towards a closing in 30 days or just getting started at that time?
I like it.
And then be quiet, because that'll close for more of an appointment.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And then the other thing I heard is when you closed one of the times, you had an upswing. It's would that work for you? Yeah. And you're ex-drill sergeant. So would you give orders and be like, hey, please go down and give me 10?
Right. Yeah.
No, there's a downswing, right? Drop down and give me 10. And it drops.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So instead of it going up into the air, the reason why it goes up into the air is uncertainty. It's a reflection of how I'm feeling internally. So instead, it's hey, would that work for you? And if you need help doing it, when you ask those questions, do a karate chop, because it'll force you to come down with tonality.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So those are the only two areas.
One
was when he was like, yeah, call me back in 30 days. Yeah, I'll be more than happy to do that. I guess I'm curious. Would you prefer to be under contract and moving towards a closing in 30 days, or just getting started at that time and then be quiet?
No, I like that one. I like it a lot.
And then the other one is when you're closing, be conscious of it going up instead of coming down.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I like what you did, Dylan. You caught on because we were probably halfway through our conversation and you didn't know at the time what my motivation was. You picked up on that with something that I shared and then went into it. That would be one piece of feedback. The other would just be maybe dialing it in a little bit more from a question-based standpoint, because there was a little bit more telling than there was selling there. Understanding more about their situation, because they don't really need to know a terrible amount unless they're asking specific questions. They want to know emphatically how you can help them. And I'm curious, with the limited amount of exposure that you're currently experiencing as a first sale by owner and the frustration that you're feeling with all these phone calls, I'm curious, with somebody like myself professionally on your side, would that help your bottom line?
Yeah. And or finding out, if you don't mind me asking, your home's lovely, it's in a great area, is your intention to stay here locally, you can go someplace else. And let's say someplace else, it's all right. And then just so I'm clear, to see if I can give you any more information that could be helpful or useful, is the move independent of the sale, or do you need the funds from the sale in order to make the move happen? And then quiet. And it's all right, well, so then it sounds like in order to get what you want, the time you want, it requires that you sell the property. And I'm wondering, have you thought through maybe doing are you comfortable doing a simultaneous closing? Or do you want to close here and you have a place to stay in between and then you'll make a purchase on the other end? So just gathering more information, because the more I can gather, the easier it is for me to drop a little doubt bombs.
Yep.
So I could say something well, so it sounds we got to really plan this thing just right, because we got to be under contract with a slam dunk offer that's going to close, and then transition, because what would happen on the outside chance if, let's say, you got this one under contract, made an offer, and then this one didn't close? What would that mean for you and your family? Mm-hmm. So I just created doubt. He's like, fuck, dude, that would be terrible. It's okay. So then, it's certainly doable. It's just something that, we really got to get right out of the gate. And notice my language. I say, we really got to get right out of the gate.
Right.
I'm like including myself in the process already.
Mm-hmm.
That's some Jedi shit right there, bro. Let's go.
I like it. I appreciate it.
Hosey, you're muted. I just see your cheeks moving.
Well, what I liked about it is like, and I think like a lot of the responses that we get, we're going to get them a lot of times. So I remember Aaron telling me about an actor, like being an actor in real estate and only having to learn one script versus like a paid actor that's got to learn 100 of them. So they asked you like, can you call me back in 30 days? Aaron was like, boom. Okay. Would you prefer that I call you back in 30 days or would you prefer that I have it sold in 30 days? Or would you prefer to be discussing offers in 30 days? And I just thought to myself, I'm like, that's like the perfect response in that situation right there, you know?
I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's very like, hey, and how often are we going to get that? So it's a matter of like recognizing all of the questions that we're going to get or all of the objections or conditions that we're going to get, and then practicing the responses so that when we get them in person, then it's good. And just so you guys know, I'm actually writing down like all of the different objections that we had in today's call, and we're going to be putting it on a document for all the elite builders where all of the objections are on one document for you guys. So it's going to be good.
The best, bro? Not only is he cute, but he's the best, bro. It's
going to be really good, guys. I promise you guys. It's going to be something that like, hey, look, you guys will have like 100 objections in real estate and have 2 or 3 different response per objection that you guys can chant. That way you guys can get it going.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely like that 30-day one because that's a pretty common objection.
Oh yeah.
So that's a perfect response. I like it.
100%.
$100. That's it. Everybody's good. Everybody's making $1 million a year. Let's go.
Are we just
Aaron, I have a question. What's up, guys?
Yeah, what's up?
Morning. So what about when they throw you in that room? Oh, come by the open house. You know, remember you said that you go clearing room by room.
Yeah, so I mean,
move
the come
people
by the
from
open
there?
house is more like what you could say is like, listen, you know, I know that the intention at the open house is really for you guys to procure a buyer, so I don't want to get in the way of that at all. You know, because obviously I want you to be successful. Hopefully the goal and objective is that you sell it to a buyer during an open house. So if you don't mind me asking, when is the open house complete? And they're like around 4. It's like, all right, so if it's okay with you, again, because I don't want to interrupt what you're doing at all, I can pop by like at 4 on the dot, and then I can have your undivided attention, have a quick conversation with you, and find out if I could be of assistance in some way. Would that be okay? Because again, I'm putting it in their, like it's in their best interest. And I'm like, look, dude, like I don't want to get in the way of what you're doing at all. Like hopefully you'll be successful in some way. That's what I would do.
Yeah, for their own benefit. You have to. I see what you said. You try to put it like that for their own benefit, basically.
That's right. Because people don't care what, like, you have to put it in like what's important to them always, whether it's money, whether it's time, like what's in their best interest. You know what I'm saying? And then they'll consider it. But if you were like, hey, I would prefer that we meet at 4, then be like, I don't give a fuck what you prefer. Like, I don't care.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure, bro. Hey, team, I got to bounce. It'd be great. Yep. What? You got one more thing?
I would just say the same thing that like when I heard come by the open house and everybody be like, yes, I'll come by the open house. I was like, hey guys, what we need to be doing is basically like finding out what time is the open house over and going right after the open house versus just going during the open house, basically.
Yeah,
you
because
know,
you're not going to have their undivided attention. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be like fucking, you can't really ask questions, like that whole thing.
You're in an environment that you can't control either.
That's right.
At that, you know, you're subject to whoever walks in, basically. That's at that point.
Yeah. So I want to have their undivided attention. So that's what I would do. Same thing like if you're meeting with, they're like, oh, you know, my husband's not going to be here, but he does whatever I tell him to do. No, that's not true. So I'd be like, yeah, you know, my experience is it's always best to like meet with both parties. So that way you guys will have all the information at the same time. And we make it a business practice to do so. So I'm looking here at my schedule. If we were to connect, me, you, and your husband under normal conditions, would you guys be available like in the evenings or the afternoons? Like I'm going to push back. I'm not going to be like, okay, because let me ask you a question. Of all the times that you agreed to do that, how often does it work out? Almost never. You see what I'm saying? Because you can't understand like what their challenges are. Maybe like they already have an agent. Maybe they have objections that you can't answer, and then you don't get a chance to present to them, and then they list with somebody else.
How would you handle this? I had a listing. We had a lot of traction on it. We ended up putting in escrow in 3 days. Had an open house. A lot of people came by, and then one of the neighbors called me, and he's like, "Hey, I wanted to see how much the property sold for. I want to sell my place." And I shared with him how much it sold for, blah blah blah. And he's like, "Oh, okay." He's kind of asking me like, "Oh, like, what do you think mine would sell for?" And I was just asking him a couple of questions. He told me it was bigger, had a pool. So I was like, I think a little bit more. And I was like, "Are you working with somebody?" He said, "No." He said, "But I'm going to probably, maybe reach out to me like in a couple of weeks because I'm doing work to the property right now. And I'm at the zoo, or I'm coming home from the zoo with my kids." That was on Sunday. So I was trying to get in front of him. I didn't really ask more than that. And I want to give him a call back. How would you approach that follow-up call?
So I think the follow-up became a lot easier for me once I simplified it. And I think I've mentioned this to a couple of people before. I used to be like, okay, like, what do I say in this follow-up? Like, what do I do? It's very simple. What I say now is just, "Hey, Mario, Jose Morales, we spoke about your property on 123 Banana Street. You mentioned to me that you were interested in selling the property. Are you still looking to sell the home?"
Yes. Yeah. But we're looking in a month or like 3 weeks.
Got it. Mario, what would be a good day for us to get together? That way we can start going over the home selling process and what we're going to be able to help you do to get top dollar for the property.
I'd say reach out to me probably then.
Okay,
like
so you're
3
thinking
weeks.
like waiting until we get closer to that date, basically.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're just.
I'm going to stop right there and then I'll handle those. But this is the framework. So like, remember when Aaron talks about like being in the batter's box, and when you're in the batter's box, being ready for like the next pitch in the price reduction, he said that this is the same thing. So by me asking, "Are you still looking to sell it?" There's only a couple of things that they're going to say. If they say yes, you close for the appointment. You go, "Great. What's a good day for us to get together?" If they say maybe, you can close for the appointment, or you can go more into qualifying them a little bit and asking more questions.
Right.
If they say no, not a problem. Is it something you would consider in the future, or is the plan to keep it forever? Or they may say yes, but, and then at that point you handle the but. So in this situation, you said yes, I asked for the appointment, and then you said but, and then you came up with, "Call me back in 3 weeks." So at that point, I'm going to be handling that. So let's redo it and go back to the same thing. But once I simplified it to that manner, bro, it's like a very I'll speak with somebody yesterday, bro, and I'll call them back. I'm like, "Hey, just wanted to see, are you still looking to sell?" And I asked them the same thing yesterday. I'm like, "Hey, are you still looking to sell?" And most people would be like, "Well, I asked them that yesterday,"
Right.
Things change. And they're like, "Well, why are you asking me that?" Like, and I never get this. "Why are you asking me that? You asked me that yesterday." I'm like, "Well, believe it or not, sometimes things change, Sometimes I get, sometimes things in people's life happen where one day they're interested in selling and the next something changes."
Yeah. Makes sense.
They don't ever ask me that, but if they ever did, that's the reality. Things do change. So I'll be like, "Hey, Mario, Jose Morales, not sure if you remember me. We spoke this Sunday about potentially wanting to sell your property. Are you still looking to sell that home?"
Yes.
Got it. Mario, what's a good day for us to get together? That way we can start going over the home selling process and what we can do to help you get top dollar for your property.
Well, I just, I'm still doing some work to the property. Give me a call, remember, like in 3 weeks.
Got it. Okay, so you're kind of finishing up some of the work on the property, and then it sounds like once the work is done, then at that point you're going to be obviously selling the property.
Yeah.
Perfect. Do you mind me asking, like, what type of work are you doing to the home?
We're doing small things. We're like, finishing painting, putting some flooring in. That's about it.
Okay, so some paint and some flooring. Got it.
Yeah.
And then are you doing a lot of that work yourself, or are you hiring contractors? And the reason I'm asking is I do have a list of people that I could recommend if you needed help with that.
No, we don't need any help. I got some guys doing it for me.
Got it. So you've got that part taken care of.
Yep.
Aside from the paint and the flooring, is there anything else that you're doing to the property?
No, that's it.
Okay. So can I make a recommendation to you, Mario?
Sure.
So here's one thing that I like doing whenever somebody's doing work to a property. Before they actually complete the work, I actually like to pop by the property. The reason I like to pop by the property is a lot of times when they're doing work, I can make helpful recommendations as to what colors are going to help the homeowner get top dollar, as to what type of flooring or what type of finishes on the flooring are going to help somebody get top dollar. So basically what I like to do is I like to share with homeowners the best finishes that are helping homeowners get top dollar for their property. Now, a lot of times with these recommendations, people will sell faster and for more money. Is that something that you're open to?
I mean, I think we got it. You know, my wife, she's really good with picking that sort of stuff out, and she already picked it, and I think we're good on that in that front. But yeah, just give me a call like in three weeks. I think we should be done by then.
Yeah. So I understand that your wife is really good at this process, and obviously she's already somewhat picked out some colors. The recommendations that I would be giving you are from the trends that I'm seeing.
Yeah, she stays up to date. She stays up to date. You know, she's really, really into that stuff, man. But I mean, if you really want,
so it sounds like these recommendations wouldn't be helpful to you guys.
Yeah, I
Meaning,
don't
like
think
you
so,
guys
man.
are like kind of like, look,
Yeah.
like it doesn't matter. Like, let me give you an example. Like, there's like this color called Sandcastle. I don't know if you've heard of it, but that color actually helps property sell for more money. And then there's molding called Swiss coffee that also helps people get top dollar. So there's just like little tweaks. I know that obviously your wife has tons of experience. I would be giving you the recommendations from flippers and people that are basically using the latest colors. But if you don't need it, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
Meaning,
send me that stuff in the email. I'll talk to my wife about that sort of stuff. You know, and then I'll kind of give her the information. But honestly, I'm not even, you know, I'm just doing this. I'm ready to kind of get this sold. So I mean,
yeah, I got it. And let me ask you this: like, it sounds like in about 3 weeks, that's when you want to have the property on the marketplace, right?
Correct.
Got it. Have you ever heard of something called the Coming Soon campaign, Mario, by any chance?
No, I haven't. What is that?
Okay. So have you ever gone to the movies and you notice that like the movie theaters, before they actually begin, the movie theaters start to market homes before they actually come to theater soon? Have you ever noticed that? Like the movie previews?
Trailers, right. Mm-hmm.
Do you ever wonder why they do that?
You know, to give a preview of the movie.
So what I kind of notice that happens is whenever you're watching a movie and you see a movie that you like, what ends up happening is that you're like, oh, when that comes out, I want to go take a look at it. So one of the mistakes that I notice in people is that they don't begin to market their property until it actually comes on the marketplace. I think that's a mistake. I think the right approach is very similar to a movie preview. You begin to market the property prior to the property coming on the marketplace, meaning just like a movie preview. Is that something that you would be open to?
I think so.
Okay. Can I make a recommendation to you, Mario?
Sure.
Okay. So here's the recommendation. And once again, I'm not in the business of wasting people's time, just to be clear. What I like to do is I like to pop by. I like to take a look at the property. One, I'll tell you very clearly what needs to happen to get top dollar for the property. Number two, what is top dollar? And number three, what the net bottom line would be. And then number four, what I'll do is I'll explain to you the Coming Soon campaign and what you can do to start pre-marketing the property. That way, when the property comes on the market, you've already got a certain level of activity and interest. If we were to get together for this consultation, is there typically a day of the week that would normally work out better for you?
I mean, maybe the weekend. You know, my wife and I are both home. I work a lot during the week.
Got it. Okay. And if we were to get together this Saturday, would 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock be better for you?
I think something earlier, maybe around 1 or even earlier than that.
Got it. So I would have the opening at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
So I'm going to put you down for 1 o'clock for this Saturday.
Okay.
Now, Mario, before we get together, I just have a couple of really quick questions I need to ask you. I just want to make sure that I'm fully prepared and I can really be of best service to you.
Okay.
Got it.
Nice job. I mean, it's very, very simple what you're doing.
No, well, what I would think, and I've role played this in a group setting with Ricardo as well too, where it's like, if they're doing work to the property, bro, let me ask you this. How many times have you ever had an owner do some work where you're just like, I wish I would have been able to give him some advice. So instead of doing this, he would have done that.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's kind of where you try to get your foot in the door, because I feel like you, even though I was kind of brushing you off, you were really trying to get in there with that stuff.
Because I believe, like, even if they tell me my wife's a designer, bro, like I'm just like, or my wife does this, bro, I know that I got the best tips for whatever renovations that they're gonna do. One, I flip properties, so like, since I flip properties, like I have to make decisions as to what to do, what not to do, and what's going to bring me the best return on investment.
Right. That makes sense.
So I'm able to give them guidance. And notice when he was like, well, this, like I threw out an example, like, and the reason I threw out an example is because once I said that color sandcastle, he's going to be like, I don't even know what that is, Right. So now it almost like sparks like a little sense of like curiosity almost. But I can't tell you how many times I've been to people's houses and the renovations that they're doing, I'm just like, fuck, why are they doing this?
Right.
Or they're like, yeah, I just spent $15,000 on this. And I'm like, dude, like you're over here fighting me on a 2%, trying to reduce my commission by 2%. And you're over here doing dumb shit like this, to fix up your property. I'm like, this is not going to bring you any money. I don't tell them that, but it's like, wow. So I always like to get in there first because I find that a lot of times people overcomplicate things. The other thing that you can do, like in this case, they've already done the work, but there's some cases where they haven't started the work. And I may say something like, well, what if there was a possibility that you could actually sell the property in as is condition? If that was possible, would you be open to that? I'd be like, well, yeah, I would. I remember a guy that's like, well, call me back in 45 days because I'm going to do some work to the property. I'm like, I started asking him, like, are you going to do the work yourself? Have you already started the work? Right. No, I haven't. I'm like, what if you could sell the property in as is condition? Would you be open to that? He's like, yes. I go by the property, the price that he wants. He was considering changing the whole flooring. He got like an extra $15,000 from the price that he wanted. There was no need for him to do the work.
Right. That makes sense. So, so basically you go from like asking why they want to wait. Then if they say the work, right, then we go down to that tunnel, which is like, okay, what type of work are you doing? And then whatever they share with you, unless it's like, I'm assuming unless it's like, stuff that requires permits, like taking down walls and adding bathrooms, then you're saying, okay, well, then let's meet so I can, maybe advise you and maybe you don't have to spend that money. And then from there, you try to set the appointment, right?
Yeah. And even like, I think where most people get stuck is like, well, I'm a contractor or whatever. I'm like, yes, I understand that you're a contractor. At the same time, like, I'm seeing what's helping sellers sell for top dollar every single day. Not only that, but we're actually helping the people sell. So we know what's working and what's not working. And we know that changes every single day. So what I would be giving you is the recommendations, not from a contractor's perspective, but from a real estate agent who's basically selling homes in Oxnard and helping people sell for top dollar.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And those recommendations are going to be different, basically. Like my brother-in-law, he's a contractor, and he he tells me all the time, like, oh, like, I think we should do this. I'm like, nope, let's not do that. He's like, well, I think you need to fix this. I'm like, nope, we don't. He's like, well, I think you need to do this. I'm like, let's wait on fixing that until like this happens. Like sometimes on like let's say the furnace doesn't work, and like I'm like, well, he's like, can we fix it now? I'm like, let's wait until the home inspection. I'm like, it's going to come up anyways. And if we wait till the I mean, they're not going to go through the house and test out the heater, you know?
Right. Right.
Like if it comes up on the home inspection, then at that point they're going to request a credit. So at that point, what if I just credit them that amount?
Right.
So there's different things that like homeowners think that they have to fix something, and in some cases they don't. And in some cases it's better off that they wait until a certain point instead of doing all these things. So I like to get in there ahead of time. So there's a couple ways to get, like, one, why are they waiting? You know?
Right.
And then two, if it's like, okay, there's something that you can't come up, then I pitch the coming soon, basically.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like that. I like the coming soon. Okay.
The coming soon helps out a lot, bro. It helps out tremendously.
Okay, cool. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
But keep the follow-up simple. Just, are you still looking to sell? That's going to prepare you for, yes, but I'm doing work to the property. Yes, but call me back in 3 weeks. Yes, but whatever but comes up, basically.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, cool. Cool. I'm going to keep it simple. I think I was just overthinking it.
All right, guys. Later. Bye.
All right, brother. Thank you.